Hi there again, everybody. Welcome back to Prestige Auctions, All Things Auction, the podcast. Once again, where me and Chris sit on this rather uncomfortable sofa and talk to you about everything that's auction, everything buying and selling, and then everything else that comes into our mind. But of course, don't forget, after Christmas, that's all changing. With plans afoot for the new podcast, you will be still getting the All Things Auction, but you're also going to be getting everyday observations with me and Chris. We are coming up with loads and loads of ideas, and I'm really excited about it. Aren't you? I'm really
dreaming up new stuff.
The thing is, because we're having the handcuffs of the auction taken off, we can talk pretty much about anything, do anything,
upset anybody. Fish.
Yeah, I mean, just probably try not to upset anybody.
Can I have my section in it? The section of people who look like the dogs.
You can, if you like. We can have anything in this new podcast. Anything at all. But let's talk about that in a bit. Of course, as always, at the start of All Things Auction, we need to talk about the auction that was last week. And it was the biggest auction we've ever done.
Yeah, 1,650-ish.
1,600 and God knows how many lots. It was just massive. Me and Lisa was tag teaming. We knew we had to get done by a certain time. We had to hit 200 lots an hour. As it goes, we're at 233.
Yeah. Was it about 4 o'clock? It was
4:15.
Yeah,
4:15 was done for, which was unbelievable. And so we basically sold a lot every 15 seconds throughout the day, which was something else. And everyone turned up. The room was busy. Lots of people on YouTube. Again, YouTube is serving us great at the moment, and I'm so chuffed about how that's going. And you know, so many people are helping us out on that by getting involved with the chats and joining up as members, and which is now actually giving us a few quid extra in the bank to start helping towards some of the production that we want to do.
Yeah, for the next one.
People don't get how expensive this is. You know, it's so expensive putting everything together. I mean, the equipment itself is thousands and thousands of pounds.
Lights, cameras and stuff. We've got to make us look good as well. We need a makeup artist.
Makeup artist, yeah. I could do with that. Maybe someone that could fix my hair. It's getting a bit bushy at the sides, you're saying that at the minute. Yeah, I need to get the clippers on it. And
I'm letting that grow for the winter.
Yeah, you're going to look like Grizzly Adams.
Yeah, I'm going to my cave, aren't I, for a month. So.
Oh, God, yeah. France. Well, mind you, most things in France are burning quite often, aren't they? So you could just stand around one of the street fires. Depends how many strikes are on.
Which protest shall we go to today?
We'll just cover off the auction real quick, and then we're just going to talk about a couple of this. So just let you know, everyone, with the podcast. So for next week, obviously, because it's Christmas week, anyone that's watching this podcast tonight needs to understand that this week at the auction, Monday is intake, Tuesday is lotting up, and Wednesday is viewing. Wednesday is the viewing for this week's auction. I can't emphasise this enough. Thursday, Christmas Day, Friday, Boxing Day, auction Saturday as normal. And then, so we still get an auction in between Christmas and New Year, but the viewing will be on the Wednesday, and it's 8 till 4. 8 till 4 on Christmas Eve for the viewing.
That's the only thing that's different this year, isn't it?
Yeah. The only thing that's going to be different going into next week is me and Chris are going to have to film next week's podcast on Monday for Friday night, which is New Year. No, it's not New Year's Eve. No, Friday night.
Boxing Day night.
Boxing.
Is it?
Yeah,
Thursday.
Boxing Day night.
Boxing Day night.
We'll go out then. But you're also getting an additional podcast this week, which will be on Wednesday. And we're having Queen Lisa on, so we're putting the podcast out at 3 o'clock on Christmas Day. So join in. Christmas Day, 3 o'clock, is going to be a chat with me and Lisa, just talking about the year and all the great things that have happened.
It might be more popular than the official one.
It might be, yeah. I mean,
nobody's going to listen to it, are they?
Not really.
No.
I've got to say, so straight away we're going off auctions. So I've got to say, I've never watched the Queen's speech, the King's speech, or anybody else's speech for that matter, because I just don't get it.
I'm normally asleep in some kind of a drunken haze by that point. After Chitty Bang Bang's been on, that's it. I'm out for the day.
Yeah. Maybe, do you think Keir will do one?
I hope not.
Oh, dear. Anyway, let's
You
not
can
go
make
there.
some sausages in it.
We do really need, remember that, we really do need to talk about the auction just quickly. So last week was pretty amazing to get through what we did. We sold some bits. I mean, we had, don't mind telling people this, we had about 300 lots that didn't sell. That's during the auction, and a lot of that would have been to do with, well, they're just average stuff, and there's a lot more, the bigger the auction, the more the choice.
Yeah.
So that can drive bids down on certain things, but also people were picking up after the auction as well, and that happens.
Yeah, a lot of not solds disappeared very quickly after the YouTubers and Facebook, they'd picked them up pretty quickly.
So that was quite good to get all that done and gone. And then, of course, we did the aftermath on Sunday and spoke about the auction as well. And the ongoing problems I'm having with Facebook, I really don't know what's going on here. It's happened again this week. We're putting the pictures on in order, and it's jumbling them up. So, but this week what we did is we just tagged the album as it was at the top. So, yes, you might not see the pictures in order, but you're seeing the pictures, which was the best we could do.
It's not down to the volume of pictures now.
No, it's been, we've put this amount on before.
Yeah.
And this week's not an over, it's not a massive amount. It's normally when they alter something and it
Right.
just messes things up. It's happened in the past. It used to happen a lot years ago. We haven't had any problems for quite a while. So, it's been okay, but then all of a sudden, it's what it is.
I can't see him now because I'm no longer there.
No, you've come off away from social media, haven't you? So why is that? Why have you come away from social media?
Basically to avoid a short sentence in Kia's slammer, because I think I'll be that annoyed I'll get driven to saying something I'll be arrested for.
Isn't that quite bad?
I think it's time to come off.
Isn't it quite bad that we're having to think in this country,
Ahead.
the UK, that where we've always been used to a certain amount of freedom of speech, and I say that quite loosely, a certain amount, because anyone that believes we could say what we like for years was very wrong. But to actually have to think about what you're writing in case you offend somebody. I mean, I'm going to give you some examples now. So when we're putting our podcasts out, we do the things now where we split them up as shorts and put them out there, and you get this sort of degree of people that are for what you say and people against. But that's great, because I like that, because that's debate, that's democracy, that's what we've got, free speech.
Yeah.
So people to have different opinions, and
Which we need that.
yeah. We've been talking about. I enjoyed talking about Pier 39 and back in the days at Cleethorpes, and that's created some interesting responses from people.
Because there's things that you forget, or other people's point of view that you never even considered. So you do need that other side.
Yeah, and when you that's a very good point, that, because when you do, I'm never fixed on anything. It's almost like somebody that's when you get these people. This is a good debate. This one, when you get those people that go, I voted Labour. Why? Well, because my dad voted Labour and my granddad voted Labour. What, you not got a mind of your own? See, when it comes to politics side of things, I look at people's policies, listen to what they've got to say, even though in this case it was a load of lies, and I didn't vote Labour anyway. But you listen to those and make your own decisions up. I would never... Actually, my nana tried to tell me who to vote for. And I turned around to my nana years ago, and because I couldn't do it now, and she said, "Oh, you should be voting for this." And I went, "Why?" And we had a debate about it. And because she was so old-fashioned, she wouldn't change her opinion on who you should vote for.
Yeah.
And so I think when it comes to stuff like this, and you're promoting open debate, putting things out on the internet that brings different opinions, I like that.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Do you think those days are over now when people just vote for a certain party because that's how the family's done it?
No.
Do you think that's still on?
I think it's still a thing, yeah, because we have people in here saying it. Oh, well, I've always voted them, so I'll carry on voting them. Well, I don't get that. I don't get that. And that could be the same. That's like saying, do you know what? Mum and Dad used that chippy. Granddad used that chippy. I know the last 6 people have had food poisoning, but I need to carry on using it. Where's the difference?
See, this is my argument about football. This is why I don't understand football. It's happening in rugby now as well, but not so much rugby league. What I don't understand about football is people are mad passionate about a football team, and it's like, which 12 foreigners will we stand behind and shout for next year? Because it won't be the same.
I've got to say,
It's got nothing to do with the town, has it?
no. When it comes to, I mean, I don't think it ever has. When I used to think like this. Well, you know, should when it comes to football, should you only have people from? If it's Grimsby town, should you only have people from Grimsby? But that hasn't been like that forever.
Yeah.
So,
But we can remember when it
what
was.
I did like years ago was you could only field, was it 2 or 3 foreign players?
Yeah, that's right.
So you was keeping it
Much more local.
much more localised. And now it's just a case of who's got the most money can buy the best players. And you know, I remember, was it? Don't quote me on this, please, because I'm not 100% sure on what I'm saying. But was it Arsenal once that fielded a team that had absolutely no English players in it whatsoever? Yeah, and straight away, you know, you're already sat here now thinking, well, people think I'm racist for saying this. Well, no, he's the one that gets me the most, and it does get me, is that I strongly believe when it comes to the England team that because all the players have to be English or of English heritage or trace back or whatever. But why not the manager? The manager should be English. It's an England team. It's.
I think the international games now, they shouldn't have players from the first division.
From the first division?
Or Premier.
It's
All the players should be from outside of that ultra professional league.
What, sort of make it more of an amateur?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it won't bring in the sponsorship and the revenue.
Well,
And let's face it,
the money in it.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
It's all, you know, when you look at the World Cup draws and everything else, it's done in a way where you become a seeded team. So there's more chance that the better teams will go through. They're not sort of lined up against each other at the start.
I suppose it is true, because like if you look at rugby, it hasn't got the money behind it that football has. And they've only just recently, since about the millennium, good before that, most of the England rugby players had got professional jobs. Solicitors and dentists and doctors and things. They don't look like solicitors and dentists and doctors, but
No.
that's what they were.
I'm not sure what they look like, to be fair. I haven't seen one for so long. We did do a couple of snippets on shorts and that was talking about football, and I got a barrage of abuse off people because I was talking about the 90 minutes thing, and that's ridiculous. And you get, I mean, you do get, it is funny to sit and look at people's comments because, again, it's bringing out opinions. And, you know, because I love that, but why do so many opinions turn to anger?
I know, they're so triggered, aren't they?
Yeah, so instantly. You know, when we talk about auctions, we get abuse about that as well, saying, "No, I don't agree with this and I don't agree with that." That's fine, but just because you don't agree with it doesn't make you right, does it?
Oh, they get proper uptight, don't they?
Yeah,
but this is, I'm not missing this now. I'm like, that's all gone. Some of the, when you think about it, some of the best times of your life, the funniest, happiest, carefree times of your life would have been in the 80s.
Yeah.
There was no Facebook.
No, social media. As great as social media is for us and for our business, you know, when you actually look back, I said the story once before about the guy I used to work with, and he wouldn't go on social media. And we always used to say, "Come on, Chuck, why are you not going on social media?" And his answer was, he says, and he got mad one day, and he said, "I'll tell you why." He says, "Because we used to work 40 hours a week, sometimes more." He said, "And at the end of the week, we'd all meet in the Honest Lawyer, all my friends and everyone else that you hadn't seen all week, and you'd spend the whole night chatting till closing time, talking about things you'd done in the week." He said, "You walk in the pub now," he says, "and everyone's just on the phone." He says, "And they already know what everyone's done all week."
Got a picture of me dinner.
Yeah, because it's all over social media. He said it's killing the social side of things.
That's dead true. That.
He made a very good point that actually made me sit back and go, "No,
social media's made people less social."
Yeah. I bumped into a guy called Graham Franklin this week in Tesco's, and Graham used to be the head doorman at Pier 39, and I was talking to him about some of the things we'd done, talking about the pier and Park Lane and that, and he said he's got some old video and that he's going to potentially let us have and have a look at, which would be great. I mean, one of the things we're going to be doing in the new podcast is actually looking at sort of old Grimsby and Cleethorpes and things. And one of the things I wanted to talk about today was, and you've not been here.
No, I'm thinking of what you're going on about. And there's a lot of these pubs, a lot of these clubs I don't know about. But
No.
the one I do, my earliest recollection, the one thing that sticks in my mind is, when I think about Cleethorpes, I always think about Grotbags' windmill on the pier.
The what?
When Grotbags out of Emu.
Oh, yeah.
Remember when they turned that into like a Grotbags' castle
Yeah.
thingy, whatever it was.
Well, yeah. Well, funnily enough, Street Life, who leaves a lot of comments, was a very good friend of my dad's, actually dropped a comment this week and was talking about the pier. And because my dad was a bit of a photographer, and so was this gentleman, he shared some memories on the comment this week saying how my dad got him access to the pier back in the day when it was the Pier Pavilion, Cleethorpes, to photo the Nolan sisters and Charlie Drake and lots of other big names. And let's face it, they were big names back in the day, and it was nice to read them memories.
You should got some of the posters from that era, aren't you?
Yeah. I love looking. I think it's something we naturally do as we get older. As we get older,
Look back more.
looking back at fond memories. It's the old thing, isn't it? The best time of our lives was when we were kids. I think when we were kids, it was the best time, and that every generation says that.
Yeah.
But why? Why did they say it? Well, because you had no pressure. You had no worries.
Yeah, you could enjoy it, couldn't you? You didn't have anything else to.
You remembered
worry
Christmases for toys and stuff. You didn't remember Christmases as an adult thinking, how the hell are we going to pay for all this? Because the pressures of adulthood change everything.
Yeah, there's a lot more for people to think about now, full stop.
How many people do you know, and this will have happened to you, that turn around and say, oh, I'll be pleased when it's all over. I don't enjoy Christmas anymore.
Yeah, it puts an extra pressure on.
Because of the extra pressures that go on. And, I do feel for people, but then I've been there. We have been there. Just because we've got a reasonably good business these days and things are easier doesn't mean that the journey to get to that wasn't difficult.
But then there's other pressures at this time of year for businesses. So just change it.
Ever so much so. I mean, running a business these days is difficult enough. So many pressures against you. And I've got to say, I went into Fresh New Place the other day, and I was in there 15 minutes. I was just like, what is there here? What is there? There's just, I think we've just, I don't think Fresh New Place has particularly got any worse. It's still got quite a lot of shops open, but we've just changed the way we shop, and we don't necessarily go to big shopping centres as much anymore. We just shop online.
I know we were going to probably go on about it later in the podcast, but don't you think the pub on the high street, how that's declined, has taken some of that spirit from the town centres and stuff? They always used to be a bit of a buzz around the pub, didn't they, at this time of year?
I thought about this the other day. We're playing a poker league thing on a Monday night. When I don't go that often, and I was in the Bluestone at Immingham on Monday night, and I was chatting to a chap in there who frequents the Nunsthorpe Tavern quite a bit, and I said, "Oh, do you still go there?" And he turned round to me. All right, son. We're in the middle of filming.
You're going to have to cut it out. Breakfast. You're welcome.
So
Is it burger time?
what you because I've had to cut out a little bit of that because of something that was said. That was my son Daniel, who's just got home from cat out, and he just brought us a Mackey's breakfast.
Beautiful.
So we're gonna have to stop and eat this out. So basically, what it was we're talking about the Nun's Fork Tavern, and he turns around to me and says, "Oh, it's sure." I went, "What?" Now, the Nunny Tavern was one of those old Grimsby pubs. This will create debate on here. It was one of them old Grimsby pubs where if you lived on the estate, everyone went in there, people had the disagreements. It was sometimes sorted out outside. But it's never one of them pubs you would have gone into and caused trouble because everyone would have then clubbed together.
Yeah, it's like as an outsider, you won't go in.
And exactly the same could have been said for the Imp in Cleethorpes.
Right.
The Imp is the one that is opposite the Blunder Park Hotel.
Yeah.
Or near enough opposite the
Flats
Blunder Park
now, is it?
Hotel. It's now flats,
Yeah.
And the Imp was another one. So when you come to pubs back in the day in Grimsby and Cleethorpes, the Imp and the Nunny Tavern, and one on the Willers as well. I forgot his name.
That should
The Valiant. The Valiant on the Nunny and the Willers was quite similar as well, where you didn't go in there and cause bother because it would soon be sorted out. But then when you look now and you think, well, these pubs became the heart of the community.
Yeah.
There would always be. I remember the old pubs back in the day, and sort of these pubs that I'm talking about, where if you needed a packet of fags, you spoke to John in the corner. There was somebody in the other corner selling meat.
Yeah.
And Shameless picked up on this on one of their Christmas specials perfectly, didn't they? That in these sort of communal pubs that were completely off the mainstream. You only went in these pubs if you had a reason to go into them, or if you lived locally.
Did you have a bloke in your local pub sat in the corner, continuously eating and drinking, writing out MOTs for a tenner? Oh, I miss them days.
But that's how it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The pub was the hub. It was the community. It's where you went to see your mates. And
Well, from my background, can't even hang on to my drink. Look.
you're spilling.
There's no alcohol in it, that's why it's leaking. Yeah, from my background, they were miners' welfare clubs.
Yeah, because you were Barnsley, weren't
It
you?
was
So
working man's clubs. And they were like individual bits of territory, like Grimethorpe, Main would be fighting Brearley Common somewhere in the middle. They'll take a weapon and go back to the pub, get themselves battle ready again and come back out.
it's a shame that, don't get me wrong, there were some pubs in some communities which were terrible, and you just wouldn't go in them.
Yeah.
Because you knew how bad they
They
were.
had reputation, didn't they?
And there are one or two YouTubers that actually cover this off, where they actually go into these pubs and see what they're actually really like.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be great, sometimes it can end in bother.
Well, a lot of them stories about the Welsh pubs. Might as well upset some Welsh people today as well. I've been in pubs in Wales where the music stops, everybody turns around and they all start speaking Welsh the second you go through the door. I don't know how long or if it still happens, but I've experienced that.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because when in my Young's days, we went up to Young's had just bought a factory. Was it McCrae or something or other? I can't remember. Anyway, and they flew us up, and we had to go and put a load of training out of the data systems to people. And because I was up there for a week, me and a guy called Graham, who I'd gone up with, who did put us up in a lovely hotel, to be fair. It was really good to us. We said to the staff that we were training, look, where does everyone go on a Friday and Saturday night? Where do you go for a pint and that? And this Scottish guy just sat there. He wasn't even involved with the conversation. He went, Aberdeen. And I went, Aberdeen's 40 odd mile away. We're in Fraserburgh. He went, he just looked up and he went, don't go out around here. And I went, why? He went, as soon as they hear your accent, they'll beat the shit out of you. I was like, what? He went, seriously, he went, there are some pubs around here, he said, you would get into some real trouble. He went, pay the taxi and go to Aberdeen. And I was like, I don't know why.
Now I've got to do it.
No, because I'd never really been to Scotland. It was first or second time I'd ever been. I'd never really thought there was this hatred.
Mm.
You just thought it was something that people spoke about, Englishmen, Irishmen and Scotsmen.
Yeah.
But then this sort of brought it home, and the guy was very serious. He went, seriously, there are pubs around here you need to avoid. And I was quite taken back by that. But yeah, so Wales, you would imagine, is...
I had that in Wales, and they were very unfriendly. But when I was in my garage door days, one of the reps took us to Ballymena and took me and my mate there and gave us a tour of the factory. Then took us into central Belfast for a night out, and I was like, this ain't gonna be good. I was already concerned. But we'd been to the Bushmills factory and had a belly full of Bushmills, so we were all big and brave. Went into Belfast, never been as looked after in my life.
Really?
So friendly. And I was expecting completely the opposite. I thought it'd be a place where there'd be trouble and you'd have to watch yourself.
Funny you should say this. We've just been in Qatar, as you know, with Daniel and Ellie. And a couple of their friends, she was a proper Irish girl from Belfast. I loved her accent. And she's one of the proper Irish girls. She's still, and even though she's probably in her 30s, still calls mum and dad mummy and daddy.
Yeah.
The mummy and daddy.
Yeah.
And I love that. And she was saying exactly the same thing. If you come over, go into here, she was talking about Belfast, she said, it is so nice. She said, stay away from Dublin because it's touristy, it's expensive.
Yeah.
When you come there, she says, and everyone's really good and really welcoming. And yeah, but our media, the way it sort of portrays those areas, would make us think twice about going there.
I was concerned about it. But we went on from there and we took the train, Belfast, and went down to Dublin. Dublin was completely, I thought Dublin would be just like, there'd be little leprechauns bouncing about buying you Guinness and all sorts of stuff. It was nasty. Dublin was not friendly.
No.
So it was totally opposite for me. I thought Belfast was great.
I think it's people experience different things, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, I had that totally unfriendly response in Scotland, but I'm going to be honest, it wouldn't stop me going to Scotland again. No. I would be thinking to myself, well, you can't have one or two people, because let's face it, it doesn't matter where you go in the world, there are going to be people that are unfriendly towards you.
Yeah, I mean, we went up to Glasgow. We worked at Port Glasgow offshore for a little while doing doors. So we stayed in Glasgow, and there was about 7 or 8 Barnsley lads, all little teams, stayed at this B&B, and we went to one of these little pubs in Glasgow, and it was in the old days when the bell rang. The curtains came across. They shut the front door.
A lock-in.
Then they opened up 2 little doors, and everybody went through these doors into the back room, and that's when the party started. And they were super friendly.
Yeah.
And that was Glasgow, and we were all concerned that we were going to get battered.
I know. There. Well, the interesting thing, so, kids, right, you don't understand because you've got 24-hour drinking pretty much these days, but back in the day, pubs used to open between 11 and 3, and then 7 to 11 at night. And then the thing called a lock-in was basically the landlord or whatever would shut all the curtains, lock the door, and who was in there, and they would carry on serving. You carried on paying, they carried on serving until the local bobby went home. And that was it. That's when it shut.
He was normally there most of the night.
And that's what it was. And when you look back at those days, but community pubs where we lived when was down here, when we still lived in Cleethorpes, the pub that was around the corner from us was the Linton on Taylor's Avenue. It's now a spa shop and a doctor's pharmacy and doctor's pharmacy and all the lights. But the Linton pub was such a busy place. Everyone went for a pint after work. Or
this is the lack of Christmas spirit on the high street for me. Is that the pubs is normally where, it's part of Christmas, somebody staggering about drunk in the street, isn't it? The smell of the booze, You can remember it. Every time you passed a pub, you could smell the beer. Now
Freeman.
you can't.
Freeman Street was one end to the other, wasn't it?
Yeah. But in those places, that's where your local characters used to organise stuff. And people get together. A lot of these sort of like charity things they did for Christmas normally came out of a pub.
Do you not think, though, that years ago, you used to be excited to go to the pub? Oh, we're off to the pub. We're going for a night out. We're going to the pub. We're going to 3 pubs. You'd organise a bit of what they call it, a pub crawl.
A crawl, yeah.
And you'd be excited to go. Whereas now you hear so many people go, I'm not going out in Cleethorpes because there's too many idiots about.
Yeah.
And I don't want my head kicking in, or I don't want somebody pulling a knife out on me. And as now you've got to that position where I think there was two times over the last 30 years where things have changed massively. And I think the very start of it was the millennium. When we came up to the millennium, now I was still DJing back then. When we came up to the millennium, everyone was going about this amazing party that was going to take place. And all of a sudden, I won't say all, but nearly all of pubs, clubs and everything else, £100 a ticket will put you a buffet on. Everyone tried to absolutely take the mickey.
Cash in time.
At that time was around the same time that people had kind of stopped doing the booze runs to Belgium, and the supermarkets were selling slabs. And there were people were like, well, you know what? I'm not paying all that. We'll have a party at home.
Yeah, we'll do his own.
So the pubs almost give themselves a problem because they're trying to get greedy for one night.
Change people's habits.
They suddenly thought to themselves, well, I'll stay at home. We'll have a bit of a party. We'll have all the friends round. It'll be cheaper because we'll all buy a slab of beer and a bottle of vodka or whatever. And people did that and thought, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, we'll do that again.
Then add in the smoking ban, not too much later, I think, or around the same time. Smoking ban comes into force. Lots of people like to go to the pub. Some people only smoked cigarettes when they were drinking.
I did.
It was a thing. I knew a
social smoker.
lad I used to work with at Young's, Harry. It used to really annoy myself. I wish I could do that, but I just smoked all the time. But
if you're gonna go out and get full of cigarette smoke, you might as well have your own, ain't you?
And I never understood the smoking ban, and I still don't to this day. Why can't you have, like they used to have back in the day, a dedicated room for non-smokers and for smokers? Yeah, you used to have the lounge rooms and that. Well, just say the lounge room where the kids were and that, no smoking. Anyway, I don't want to get into a whole debate about that, but that was another thing that put a nail in the coffin for pubs.
It's dividing people up into it.
Then, bringing COVID.
Yeah.
COVID comes along, and everyone starts getting bored. They've got time off work. I'm going to build myself a man cave. And now you look, there are dedicated channels to man caves. Great man caves. There's some amazing ones out there.
And all that Krups thing that you had in here the other day, you can start buying equipment for your house that turned it into a proper pub, can't you?
Now I know of several people that have got proper bars in the man caves where they've got pumps and they have all the friends go around. They don't go to the pub anymore. So many things changed the pub as we know it, and I've got to say, I mean, look, I live right near the Coach House and the Countryman. The Countryman's not a bad pub, but it's completely different to the Coach House.
Yeah.
The Coach House, again, and I don't dislike the Coach House. Food in the Coach House is amazing, but I don't really want to go for a drink at the Coach House.
Well, it's funny that, because that's where we ended up in the wrong pub on Wednesday night, and me and Kim were in the coaching, and
it's loud.
It's loud. It's set up for eating. Both sides of the bar, isn't it? You know, the restaurant side, but the other side's kind of like geared towards eating. There's only a tiny little area that you could really say is like a standing at the bar area.
Yeah.
And they don't want you to take your drinks from the bar. They want to bring them over to you. But they were, it was all right, but they were very abrupt at a certain time when somebody had booked the table that we were sat at, just a little 2-seater high table. Very abrupt, because
Yeah.
somebody's booked in for this, you're going to have to leave. And it wasn't a nice way they did it.
Now, we had that once there with them as well when it came to football. They promised us a table that never came, and we wasted an hour before we had to leave because there was no tables. No one was giving them up. But the coach house now is almost not... See, because I used to work at the coach house years ago, and it was the other way around. What is now the restaurant used to be the bar at the coach house, and there was a dance floor at the side. And then the area where the sports bar is now used to be the restaurant.
Right.
And we used to do the carveries and steak nights and everything from the kitchens in there. And it was a completely different setup, but it was geared to the times. What I would say about the coach, because I think the food at the coach house is sensational. I mean, it's really good quality out of there. But back then, lots of people wanted to just go out for a drink, maybe have a bar meal. Now, turn it on all these years later, 30, 40 years out later, people want to go out for a meal and a drink. And of course, the coach house have jumped on that. Whereas the Countryman has got the conservatory area and the eating area against the bar area, which is still a bar. It's still got a pool table, still got a dartboard, still got bandits. Which is why, if I'm just going for a drink, I'd prefer the Countryman.
Yeah, I agree.
And even though the food in the Countryman is fantastic, I prefer to go to the coach house because it's more geared that way.
Yeah, if you're going out for a meal.
But you look now, Chris, at how many pubs that are out there. How many pubs these days have only survived because of food?
Yeah, I can't blame them for doing what they've done because they're catering for the mass market.
You've been in the Weller lately, the Hungry Horse, down on the seafront there near the bowling.
I would think it'd probably be March or April time since I've been there.
Probably about the same for me. It was certainly the summertime. I walked in there. Now, when I was a kid, the Weller was up there somewhere. It was a posh pub.
And it's a big pub, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of people would come off Grimsby Cleethorpes golf course, drive straight down to the Weller, have a few pints, and still drive home because there weren't as many police about. Imagine there's probably less about now. But you could see it. Lots of people were still drinking and that when they shouldn't have been.
Because in the car park, it's that big. Chances of you hitting somebody are fairly low.
It was a lovely pub. I couldn't help when I walked in there this year, even though I've got to say the food we had was nice. The carpet was sticky, the chairs were sticky, the tables were sticky.
Did it stink?
It's got that smell about it.
Like sewers?
Yeah, and you're just thinking, this place drastically needs a refurb.
Yeah, I thought that.
Drastically needs a refurb.
I think I went on one of them little walks back from the auction where I called in at most of the pubs on the way back to Humberston. Called into the Wello, went in, got a Jack Daniels and Coke, sat down and watched some football, and my first thought was, I can smell sewers.
Yeah.
It did stink.
No, I've got to say the food was okay, service was okay, but the pub itself... No. But you start heading the other way. So you come up to Willie's. Now, Willie's is one of the very, very few traditional style pubs left in Cleethorpes. Because they don't really do masses of entertainment. You go in there, people are stood at the bar, they're drinking, they stand outside, they're drinking. They go there for a drink and to talk. Whereas then you head up a bit further. Last time I went in the Smugglers, that was quite loud.
And the Smugglers is traditional.
Yeah.
They haven't refitted that out. That's like...
It's a very strange setup, the Smugs, though, isn't
It's weird.
It's never changed.
Yeah.
It's almost
I like
it's
it.
sunken under, isn't it? It's.
I like it.
I don't dislike the Smugglers. Smugglers was a decent place. And then going up, let's stick in Cleethorpes. So then going up the hill, of course, you've got the... as you're going to sort of veer onto Seaview Street at this point, you've got the Knots.
My favourite pub in Cleethorpes.
The Knots?
Yeah.
Now, I've not been in there for a long time.
I think they've now refitted it. But that really was something from the 1890s, wasn't it? It hadn't changed at all. And I love that. Absolutely love it. And that had got a tap room and a best side.
Yeah, the Fish. But again, Fish started going in big into food, and I've got to say, the meal I went for in there, again, nothing wrong with the food, but I've got 3 deep at the bar, stood next to my table there.
Yeah. It's a bit squashed, isn't
And
it?
you couldn't hear anything.
No.
And I think if you want to go for a meal, you need a little bit of quieter.
Yeah. That's not a pub I'd go to for a drink.
I think it's a shame what's happened with the Kingsway in Cleethorpes.
Yeah.
The Kingsway, to me, and it's funny actually, because when who was I talking to the other day about this? I was out and I was talking to a gentleman who's quite well to do. And he even mentioned the Kingsway and how it had changed, not for the better. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want to criticise the Kingsway, because last couple of times I've been, the food has been okay, but it's lost the old-fashioned service that it used to have. And when the old owners were there, with I think Simon was the maitre d', the person in charge of the waiting staff, and they knew you by name because you'd been going for so many years. It felt very personal.
They pay attention though, don't they?
Yeah. When you went in, they still pulled the chair out for the lady. They still passed you a napkin. Call this old-fashioned, but it's good old-fashioned service. And that's something that me and Lisa went for.
It made them stand out now, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's what made them different from everybody else.
I used to go up to the bar. The bar was very old-fashioned. They still used to give them big glasses with the things around the side. Look like you always expect to see a fish in it, but they still give you one of them. And the barman would stand talking to you. Now it's go to your table. We'll take your order. They bring you a drink. They've got a cocktail bar. Yeah. And although recently I've heard some very good reports out of there, I just can't help but think that every time we've been in recent times, even though the food has been okay, it's not as good as it used to be, I've got to say that. Even though the food has been okay, the service has been poor, very poor. And what a shame. What a shame, because
they could have stood out.
This gentleman I was talking to the other night, I say quite a well-to-do guy, he said exactly the same thing, and he lives in Beverley. And he said he'd been over here, he said, and he wouldn't go again because it's lost that personal...
Yeah, it's ended. So that
feel.
era's gone.
But, I get what they're doing at the Kingsway. They're trying to cater to more of a middle-of-the-range market rather than... But what I will say about the Kingsway is the Kingsway always used to feel expensive, and I don't think it is anymore.
Because everywhere else has had to...
Yeah, the coach house is probably dearer.
Yeah, they've probably got to watch... But it's got quieter, hasn't it? You drive past now.
Yeah.
I mean, those windows at the front, they always used to be full of people.
Yeah.
You can see it physically, it's quieter.
I think it's that old thing. We used to have a restaurant in the town called the Victorian House, which I don't suppose you even remember it.
I don't remember it.
Anyone that's watching this on Grimsby and Cleethorpes that's old enough will remember the Victorian House. It's now something to do with dental. I think they make teeth or something there now. And the Victorian House was run by, I believe, a Welsh family who... The Victorian House was one of those places it wasn't massive, but the food was all home cooked. They used the best meat, they used Pettits, the best butchers. And you'd say, oh, well, should we go to Victorian House? And you'd ring them up, I'm sorry, can we get in on a Saturday? 6 weeks, 7 weeks,
Reputation.
8 weeks. It was just, you had to book in advance. But every time you went, it was sensational. They made a few quid out of it, I would imagine. Sold it. New person came in. It was shut within a couple of years. I'm sat there having a mixed grill after the first time we'd gone after it changed hands, and I'm like, the meat in there was always amazing. It just melted in your mouth. And I'm gristle, chewy. And one of the waiting staff actually turned around to us and said, well, no, they've stopped using Pettits, they're now using so-and-so. And I thought... And when you look at the Victorian House and when you look at the Kingsway, two very similar things there, you think, well, you've gone into a business that was thriving, it wasn't broken, so why try and fix it?
Yeah, change the formula.
And that was such a shame to me, because I did used to love going to the Kingsway. I love going to the Victorian House. Sadly, that closed. Obviously, it closed because everyone stopped going. You could just ring up on a Saturday after a while and you could just get straight in.
Look at that place you took us in Laos, the ranch.
The ranch, yeah.
That's booked up, isn't it?
Why? Because it's fantastic.
It's good quality.
They've not tried to change anything.
No.
They've just served good quality, wholesome food, good meat, good portions,
Good service.
good service.
Yeah, there's a
Place
key for
was
it.
warm. They keep people coming in all
Yeah.
the time. But when you look at all these places, so sorry, back up the hill again. So you've got the fish down there as well, which again I'm over impressed with, and then you've had numerous different cocktail bars that have opened
There's
and
loads
closed.
of them in the bank and stuff, isn't there? Cocktail bars.
Yeah. So then you come down the hill, and then as you come
Taylor
down,
too.
well, Taylor 2. Don't quote me on this, but I think the people that bought the Kingsway, didn't they used to own the Taylor 2?
I don't know.
I think, but Taylor 2 got a very good reputation for food.
Good position as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and then you got the Naval Club next
Yeah.
door. Is it Naval Club?
Yeah.
And then that's members only, isn't it?
Yeah, that is. RSL.
As you came down the hill, you had another pub that had opened on there, which turned into the gay bar. It was all pink, rainbows in the window. Really, really popular for a year or two, and then that suddenly closed. I don't know why that closed.
That's where the Victorian balustrades start.
Yeah.
There's one in between that.
And I don't know if you've noticed this week, but all the boarding has come down from outside the Dolly.
You forgot the Liberal Democrats' seedy den.
Well, the Liberal Democrats place on the seafront, which was always the Kingsway Club, and it
Yeah.
still says, I think it's cut.
Yeah, still got it up.
I've got to say, for position above the shops that it is, that's a great place. I played pool in there once or twice. I mean, the trouble is it's now tarnished because it's about politics in there as
Yeah.
well. But that place, if that wasn't tarnished with politics, then what a great place that is. Big glass windows looking out onto
Yeah,
the sea.
it is a
and
good spot, that
just
one.
lovely. And then as you come down, you've got the Dolly, of course, and then onto the high street. Well, I mean, would I go in Barracuda? No, I wouldn't. Every time I seem to go past there, there's a fight outside.
Glass. Yeah, there's glass everywhere.
The Grant Street always seems to be taped off with police tape.
Yeah.
And
Swashy. Were you still going to Swashy?
no, because it's down Grant Street.
We have been for a couple of years now.
I just look at that area of Cleethorpes now and just think, all I can think is, what a shame.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've been spoilt this year.
On the camp, yeah.
Everything on camp.
See, I quite envy you in some respects. Not that I'd want to live in a caravan full time, I'm going to be honest about that.
It's been a bit harder this last couple of months.
But when you're on that camp, which is the old beach home, everybody, Cleethorpes Pale now, is it? Everyone's in, when you're in the bar or in the show bar, everyone's in holiday mode.
Yeah.
So you don't get, I mean, let's face it, Cleethorpes hasn't changed, but the people have.
Yeah, I mean, that's 100% correct. That is the nicest thing about being on a caravan park. On some residential caravan parks that are like all year round, you'll get a lot of people who've been a bit disaffected with life and stuff. So all they can afford is a caravan.
Yeah.
So they're on a downer, aren't they?
Yeah.
They've got like a little bit of a grudge and stuff. But on a caravan park, on a holiday park, when everybody goes through them gates, everybody's on holiday.
Yeah.
So you get the vibe.
And all of a sudden, money don't matter anymore.
No.
You're on holiday.
No, get the vibe. Got the cabaret on. We've got Tom Jones, Cher.
Cabaret. Cabaret.
We got 3 days of Northern Soul coming up in March.
Wow. But I think this is it, I mean, when you look at how times have changed, I mean, as you come down, you had so many pubs. Just very quickly, of course, we moved down to the Isle of Wight, and I'll never forget, I need to talk about this in a minute as well. I'll never forget Jim Davidson talking about the Isle of Wight. He said it's 40,000 drunks clinging to a rock, right? And he wasn't wrong. The amount of pubs that there used to be on the Isle of Wight, especially in Ryde, was unreal. I mean, there was a street next to us called Union Street that comes down right to the seafront, and there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There was about 9 pubs on this street, and then you got onto the seafront. Then you had as soon as you got to the seafront, so you got down to the bottom of there, you had the Redan. Then as you come around the corner, you had the King Lud. Then you had the Maritime. It was just. And then you had the castle, then you had the pavilion. Just everywhere was pubs.
Yeah.
And strangely enough, me and Lisa went down there a few years ago, and a lot of them have gone, of course.
See, did it used to have that holiday vibe? It just in the air, everybody's on holiday having a good time.
It did back then, but to me, the pub that was the standout pub in Ryde on the Isle of Wight was the King Lud on the seafront. It was a proper pub. You went in there to play darts, but it was always packed.
Did they have a piano?
I don't ever recall seeing a piano in there.
How many pubs have you been in where there's been some old boy on the piano and just massive, like a Chaz and Dave sing-song night's just erupted out of nowhere?
Oh, yeah. Listen, I need to talk something about it, Chris. I've just thought about it. So this week, I rang Chris during the week and said, look, Chris, something fantastic's happening at the auditorium. And I'd noticed that Jim Davidson is playing the auditorium. Was it in March, did I say?
Yeah,
something like that, in March. Now, for anybody that's never been to see Jim Davidson, I want to do through our podcast a one podcast mission to fill the auditorium with people, because he's controversial, he's a funny guy. And Jim Davidson was at the auditorium last year, and my brother rang me and said, I was at Jim Davidson last night. What do you mean Jim Davidson was at the auditorium last night? Why did I not know about this? And we did a podcast about it, didn't we? And we spoke and said, look, Jim Davidson was at the thing, and apparently it was about half full. We need to, everybody, go and get your tickets for Jim Davidson. We've got to fill the auditorium and make sure that it gets well attended. Because I personally, other than email, I don't think the auditorium advertised very well. Because clearly I'd been to the auditorium a lot and never got an email about Jim Davidson being there last year, so hence we missed it and we were gutted. So we've got tickets, haven't we?
We've got tickets, I'm looking forward to that. But do you think they're not promoting him because of his truth speaking, if you want to say it for a better word?
Of course, he can be quite controversial, he can be extremely political, but when you look back at Jim Davidson over the years, over when he sort of first came onto the scene, probably in the 70s, 80s, 90s. I mean, let's not forget, Jim Davidson was one of the biggest names on the TV.
Yeah.
You know, with the Generation Game, Big Break,
Saturday night shows, weren't they?
He was one of the big names. And now the BBC, even though he did, when they look back on the Generation Game and stuff like that, when do you ever see Jim Davidson?
There's no replays, is there?
No, there are for other people, but not for him. And I think this is such a shame.
They've turned him into an hot potato, haven't they?
Yeah. So what I want to say to everybody is get your tickets. It's like 30-something quid. Get your tickets for Jim Davidson. Let's fill that place. Let's fill the place with people from Prestige if we have to. Let's get it filled up. And I can guarantee the guy will be funny, because he's always been funny. And let's not forget something about Jim Davidson as well. Right? Jim Davidson, for many, many, many years, has supported our troops wherever they are in the world.
Yeah.
And as much as people go on about how controversial he could be, and he got investigated by U-Tree and found to have done nothing wrong, incidentally. But Jim Davidson, I used to watch his videos on videotape years ago when he was entertaining the troops. He went to the Falklands, he went to Afghanistan, he went all over the world supporting our troops, from what I can gather as well, for no fee.
I've read that. He didn't take any fees for doing.
So, you know, believe what you want to believe on the media about Jim Davidson, but I suggest get yourself to the auditorium in Grimsby. Me and Chris are going to be there. We can't wait. And go and enjoy the guy. He's a funny man. So everybody, hashtag Jim Davidson auditorium. See us there. If we can, what's the auditorium hold? About 1,500 people, something like that. And there's only about a third of the tickets gone so far. Let's fill it up. We can meet up and have a big booze up in the bar before. Sounds like a plan. One last thing to talk about before we do the outros is something really funny that was not funny. It tickled me on the news yesterday. So there's this news headline it's either on GB News or on Sky News, one of the two, about the Actors Union. We're worried about AI and the effects it could have, because let's face it, AI can make characters now. It could actually make a film if you wanted with people that aren't real. So the Actors Union are worried about what's happening with AI. so they're going to go on strike. You couldn't write this, could you?
We don't need you anymore. What are we going to do?
I absolutely watched it and thought, you are going to go on strike. So then the producers can all stand there and go, we've got no actors, let's make some. You absolutely... How? I mean, where are these people at? And let's
Who's advising them?
Let's not forget to give the good old doctors a quick mention, eh? eh? Who got the massive pay rise last year? Massive pay rise last year.
Some more.
And now, all of a sudden, you give in to that, and all of a sudden, they come back with a begging bowl again. Well, and it was interesting to watch on the news yesterday, the amount of people walking past having a go at them and saying, you're out of order.
Yeah,
and,
totally.
And you know what? I owe a lot to the NHS, to the operations and everything that I've had in the past. But I'll tell you what, you can't just, well, let's face it, it's the government that's caused the problem. If you give in to people that are striking and give them everything they want, they will just think you're an easy touch.
There were no conditions on the...
No, they'll just keep coming back. Yeah. But, sorry, the one for me this week is the Actors Union. We're worried about AI. Just don't go on strike. What
my favourite one is? My favourite one of the week, it might even be the end of last week, is another one of these David Lammy things. What we're going to do as a Labour Party is we're going to erase all the stuff you've done as a kid that were naughty, that got recorded by the police, all the things you said and all the little bits of crimes and stuff and things like that. And we're going to erase it from your record, so that it doesn't hold you back in later years and you have to declare this stuff you did when you were young. Brilliant. But on the same time, what we're going to do is we're going to go back 50 years and look at what Nigel Farage might have said during his school playground and hold it against him.
I read that story yesterday and I put a comment on that.
That's mental.
I've got to say, I put a big comment on yesterday, and I put, there was all these people going, these people sat there talking about what Nigel Farage did and all the rest of it. And I said, look, when I moved to the Isle of Wight from up north, I don't mind admitting this, I got bullied quite badly because I was a northerner. All I got was, where's your whippet and your flat cap and all that. And I was like, I'm from Humberside, mate. I'm not from Yorkshire. But because I spoke a little bit different, I got bullied to the point that at Mayfield Middle School, I got hit, I got beat up once, because even to the point the teachers had a go at me, taking the mickey about where I was from. Okay, which, let's face it, if you're having a go at somebody where they're from, is that not a form of racism?
Yeah, well,
is it? I don't know. But here's my point. Over the last 40 odd years since that happened, I've never once thought to myself, do you know what? Something needs to be said about this, because I accepted for what it was. It was at school in the 1980s, and things were a hell of a lot different then. Rightly or wrongly, they were a lot different then. But have I ever thought to myself, these people need holding to account? Now, if I thought those people needed holding to account, because they were kids at the end of the day, and kids can say nasty things, if I thought those kids needed holding to account, I would have bleated on about that week on week on week for the last 40 years until something got done about it. I wouldn't wait 50 years to all of a sudden, when it becomes relevant, to talk about it. Yeah. Because anybody that does that, you've got to sit there and ask the reason why.
It's pretty obvious.
It's pretty obvious.
Do you know who the most prejudiced person against her is of all time? White blokes with glasses. Milky Bar Kid.
How was that prejudice?
Because he was like a weedy little kid, weren't he? He was like, oh, you weedy little Milky Bar Kid.
But the Milky Bar Kid is strong and tough.
Oh yeah, he looked like he battered everybody, didn't he?
That was the song, wasn't it?
Mr. Muscle. That shower cleaning dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's big sort of like strapping bloke, isn't he?
The guy that went in the R. White's fridge. He had glasses.
Yeah. Rick Moranis.
Well, look.
Superman when he ain't got his power.
At the end of the day, right, racism existed back then, and you could say things about it and do things about it. What I would, if there was anybody to blame at the time of when Nigel Farage was saying whatever he said, it was the teachers at that school. Because I can say from experience that the teachers at Mayfield Middle School on the Isle of Wight knew exactly what was happening to me, and they got involved.
Yeah.
They could have done something about it, but they didn't. Kids will be kids. Kids will say nasty things. You know, we had a lad, a coloured lad that was in our school on the Isle of Wight. One of my best mates down there. Real nice kid. I've actually looked on Facebook, God knows how many times, to try and find him, and just so I could just say hello. But his nickname was Chalky. He wasn't racist. He was one of the boys. He was one of the lads. He was.
All the language.
We all had nicknames.
Yeah.
We all had nicknames, but having a nickname doesn't make you a racist. You know, it's just. Stop it, everybody. Stop doing this.
Though, doesn't it? It's like at that same time when they went back to what the BBC was doing, they had the minstrels on, didn't they, at that time? That was a family evening show.
Yeah,
Al Jolson and stuff.
Yeah, the black and white minstrel show. You know, it was people doing what they did at a time. Yes, I get it. Times have changed, but you can't
judge
just
it
go
with now.
down. Can't just keep going back and damning everybody. I mean,
No.
you know, the BBC can't damn Nigel Farage and the rest of it when, God, they were the world's worst years ago.
Yeah.
So I just think, come on, everybody, you know, put a bit of normality into everything. Not everybody, you know, racism. When you look at true racism is a horrible, horrible thing. Okay. People saying the odd little thing and having a bit of banter with somebody, and that over the years doesn't make you a racist. It makes you just be normal at the time. You know, I mean, you could answer, yeah, you look back at what happened in America years and years ago, it was awful, but that was racism. You know, but, you know, having a bit of banter with somebody, God, if you tell me a kid at school that didn't have a nickname or didn't get a little bit of bullying or whatever, because it was school.
People get offended for other people with banter, not the actual person themselves.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem and isn't there always somebody trying to listen and look, trying to trip you up and find you out?
Trying to find
somebody's mission that day is, I'm going to trip you up, I'm going to find you out.
Yeah, and when I spoke to some of my friends that are of foreign ethnicity, shall we say, and you get into a conversation with them, they're embarrassed by it.
Yeah.
Because they're like, well, I don't know why people are saying that. You know, I mean, one of my mates in Barton, a guy called G, we used to have a right laugh together. We're good mates, have been for years. Don't see each other so much anymore because, you know, we're all busy. But, you know, we always had a great laugh and a great time. But no one ever got offended.
No.
You know, you can tell if somebody you'd go back to what was happening in South Africa years ago. That was racism.
Yeah.
That was true racism. You know, trying to create the divide between. But I don't know. I just think everything just gets taken too far these days. And if we start identifying everything as racism, then where does it stop?
There's not enough people going to the pub and having good conversations.
No, and just you know, God, you used to go into the pub years ago, and you'd have different colours, different religions. Everyone sat down and had a pint.
Yeah,
just got on with it.
Yeah,
no one got offended. Everyone just, you know, would take the mickey out. And when you look at shows like Love Thy Neighbour years ago, which, you know, is supposed to be awful and all this. I sat and watched one not long back, and I couldn't find anything racist in it.
No, it's not vicious, is it? It's not.
It
not
was
nasty.
It was two neighbours.
Yeah.
That continuously had a go at each other, but the coloured guy always came out on top.
Yeah, I know.
And then you know, I think this world creates half of its own problems these days. Anyway, listen, everybody. Next week on All Things Auction, the podcast, we're going to be looking back on the year that was. This one, of course, this one's going out tonight. Next Friday is Boxing Day, so we and Chris are going to film something on Monday and get that one put together. We're going to look at some of the outtakes as well from this year, and you've already seen some of them out there that may lose in my mind. The computers can be quite funny, but we're going to be putting that out next Friday night for you.
Ladders.
The what?
Nobody's fallen off any ladders this year.
No, but I'm sure we'll be able to find some interesting things to put together. And then, of course, on Christmas Day, you've got Queen Lisa coming on at 3 o'clock. Me and Lisa are going to do a few words just to say a bit of a thank you and talk about some of the things that happened over the year at Prestige. Some of the amazing things that are going to happen again next year at Prestige. So thanks everyone for watching this one, everybody. Say goodbye, Chris.
Goodbye, Chris.
We'll see you all very soon at the auction.